On the world map, the Central African Republic is nothing but a shadow, large, green, yet almost empty. A territory in the heart of Africa drawn in haste by colonizers who ignored tribes, rivers, and mountains. When France left, no real state appeared, only the illusion of one. No institutions, no economy, no infrastructure. The Central African Republic became a country only on paper, while in reality it was torn into pieces where each patch belongs to whoever has the most power. It is no surprise that more than half of the population was born into conflict and has never seen what peaceful life looks like.
Africa is the most brutal continent in the world, and right at its center lies the most dangerous country, the Central African Republic. It exists only on the map, but in reality, there is lawlessness here and war is almost always ongoing.
The Central African Republic has no oil, but it has something more precious than gold, diamonds. And not only diamonds, uranium, gold, rare metals, yet none of this makes the country rich. Almost none of the revenue from mining reaches the government or the people. Mines are controlled by armed groups who trade resources across the border in exchange for weapons, food, and influence. The economy of the Central African Republic is a black market and survival. Official numbers mean almost nothing. Most people live on $1 a day, and in villages even without that. Diamonds that could have built roads, schools, and hospitals instead leave the country, serving other goals. In the Central African Republic, children grow up too soon, not by choice, but by circumstance. Many of them do not even know what a toy is. They carry weapons, sleep on the floor, eat once a day. The country has more than 14 active armed groups, and each needs fighters. Children are easier to recruit. They are not paid. They can be threatened or adopted. Sometimes boys of 10 become soldiers, and girls end up as kitchen workers or wives of commanders. Nobody counts these children. For the world, they are only shadows, but for the villages, they are a lost generation whose future has been stolen. Far from the capital, life is completely different. There is no government, no internet, no cars. People live in mud huts, eating what they can grow or trade. Electricity is rare. Medicine is almost a myth. When sickness comes, people turn to shamans because they have no other choice. Roads are broken or swallowed by jungle. To reach the nearest town, one must walk 2 days on foot. Neither police nor army arrive there, and they do not try. Power in the provinces belongs to whoever holds more weapons and is ready to defend their village from desperate neighbors. Even the capital is no guarantee of safety. Bangui, the country's main city, feels like a war zone. Government offices may function, but just a few blocks away there is poverty, improvised refugee camps, and street markets guarded by men with rifles. Electricity can be cut for days, and gunfire at night is routine. There are no streetlights, no clean water, and checkpoints stand on every corner. People live like on a powder keg, afraid to speak too much, afraid to step outside the boundaries of their own district. Even here at the center of power, the state is felt only through the flag on a rooftop. The Central African Republic is a chessboard without rules. Each square is controlled by its own group: rebels, self-defense, foreign interests. Often the enemy is the neighboring village, and alliances change every month. Government forces hold only the main cities and highways. The rest is under armed groups. Some declare political goals, others just survive by trading resources for weapons. Peace talks have been held dozens of times, but agreements collapse faster than they are signed. There are no fronts, no defense lines, only constant fear of who will arrive in the village next. For many years, France was seen as the Central African Republic's senior partner, controlling the economy, military training, and exports. But after yet another wave of violence and anger at colonial legacy, Paris pulled back its missions and withdrew troops. Into the vacuum came other powers, including from Russia. Officially, they are instructors and government security. Unofficially, they are just another force on the chessboard. Their role is escorting convoys, guarding mines, and strengthening loyal units. For locals, they are simply new men in uniform speaking a different language but armed and unpredictable like all the rest. The Central African Republic is one of the richest countries in Africa in resources, but one of the poorest in GDP. Why? Because the real owners of diamonds, gold, and uranium are not the government. Mining maps are covered with gray zones. Often they are closed camps off limits to journalists and international missions. Extraction is done by hand under brutal conditions. Money flows into the pockets of middlemen, private guards, and transnational networks. For villages near the mines, resources are not a blessing, but a curse. There is more violence, more recruitment, more disappearances, and least of all, hope for development. Children in the Central African Republic do not dream of gadgets. They dream of notebooks. In many regions, there are no buildings that could be called schools. Lessons take place in old army tents, under palm leaf roofs, or directly on the ground. There are no textbooks. Teachers are scarce. Pupils sit on boxes right on their knees, listen until gunfire erupts nearby. Often, classes are interrupted for months because of fighting, seasonal diseases, or because the teacher fled to safety. In such conditions, dreaming of the future is already heroic, yet thousands of children still come to learn, because it is their only chance to escape poverty. In district clinics of the Central African Republic, you may not find a single doctor. Nurses without training perform surgeries. Injections are given from memory. Antibiotics are rare. Machines do not exist. Light comes by chance. If lucky, a generator may run for a couple of hours a day. Women in labor lie on mats. IV bottles hang from nails. One case of malaria can be fatal if the pharmacy lacks tablets. People die from what costs a few euros to treat elsewhere. Sanitation is non-existent. Bandages are washed and reused. Yet even in these conditions, health workers do not give up. Those who remain keep working because to leave would mean leaving people with no help at all. Women in the Central African Republic are among the most vulnerable. They work in the fields, raise children, cook food, and carry water for kilometers. But in wartime, they are also targets. Many lose husbands and become widows at 20. Girls are married off at 13 or 14 because families cannot feed them. Women's health care is almost absent. No gynecologists, no maternity wards. Violence happens everywhere, but is almost never investigated. A woman is left alone, with a child, with trauma, without rights or protection. In such conditions, even simple survival is an act of strength, and the state pretends not to see them. Nearly a third of the Central African Republic's population are internally displaced. People flee fighting, losing everything: homes, land, livestock, documents. They settle in abandoned schools, city outskirts, or handmade tents under plastic sheets. There is no sanitation, no electricity, no food. Aid arrives irregularly and does not reach everyone. Many live like this for years without returning home. Children are born in camps and know no other life. Officially, they are, quote, not refugees because they never crossed a border. But in truth, they are exiles, just like millions of others in conflict zones. In the Central African Republic, there is almost no formal employment. No factories, no industry, no tourism. That means no jobs. People survive through farming and small-scale resource digging. Even children work in mines. Work means digging earth, carrying water, collecting sand, or digging wells. Without machines, without protection, without rest days. Income is unstable. One day may bring something valuable, the next, nothing. Everything depends on luck and on whether someone with a rifle takes it away. To work is to risk, but not working means starvation. There is no other choice. In the Central African Republic, it is impossible to make plans. Today it seems calm, tomorrow fighting begins in a neighboring village. People are afraid to build houses because they may be burned, afraid to save money because it can be taken. Even a harvest in the field is no guarantee of food. Crops are looted, land is seized. The state provides neither safety nor justice. Life hangs on fragile hope. Maybe this month it will be fine. Maybe this year the school will stay open. Here, every day is survival without the right to a future. And this is the normal reality for millions. Formally, the Central African Republic has a president, a government, a parliament, a flag, an anthem, a capital. But this is only a shell. In reality, most of the country lives by its own rules, without central involvement. State services hardly function, there are no courts, no police, administration exists only on stamps. People do not pay taxes because nobody collects them. Instead of government services, there is self-rule, informal chiefs, and local powers. On the international stage, the Central African Republic is a sovereign state, but inside it is space left to drift. The country exists. The state exists only as formality.